brewer from sort of misrepresenting what they're selling to the consumer, because they're actually selling a 3.2 product when they actually think they're getting a full blown 6, a higher alcohol grade.
Okay.
Well, I put this
That's
on
my thought.
manufacturer. Why
What?
not have, if it's a retailer who's selling 3.2 beer, why not say that they have to have a sign that says this is 3.2 beer?
But not so, there is no, that doesn't exist
Yeah.
in January 19.
Am I
So
allowed to sell?
I mean, we're like counting
No.
down
Now?
the days until 3.2 is over. So why make a new rule now that's
I
gonna
don't know if
be
you're sure.
a major burden on,
Just pull it off.
on alcohol manufacturers that are gonna have to go through the whole TTP thing and change all of the packaging?
When they have to do that now, this isn't a rule right now. This
Well, the
006 is a
4.0
rule.
The 4.0 is new.
Patrick, 4.0 is new.
That's because it's by volume. The reason I'm adding this is because 3.2 by weight and 4 by volume is the same,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The reason why we're just changing this is because on some of this, we didn't allow 4.0 printing. It had to say 3.2.
Right.
Some manufacturers had 4.0, and by rule that was in violation. So I'm just cleaning it up to where they would still be in compliance if they said this does not contain more than 4.0 by weight, by volume.
So that's the rationale.
This is just a cleanup right now.
Okay.
That's all it is.
So we had this discussion.
But your discussion about what it's gonna be in 2 years,
Good answer.
Okay.
let's worry about that then.
We'll worry about it in 2 years.
All right.
But I still want it. I'm just kidding.
I didn't know this was a win and lose. I thought this was a conversation.
So, 47-100, as I talked to the subgroup, what we did is we had definitions in 2 different regulations, 47-100 and 47-322. We decided to take all the definitions and put them in one place because they were synonymous. So, we added retailer, wholesaler, so G and I we added, that came from 322, so we just moved it, okay? And then we added J, which is giving the industry a little bit better understanding of what sandwiches and light snacks is, because that's like the #1 question we get asked in all of our retailer enforcement classes is what's a sandwich and what's a light snack. So here we're trying to further define that, give some examples. I'm not making a list. You can use your best judgment of what this means. Okay?
So this is Patrick, this is an including without limitation, all the following items.
Well, there's still limitation, but I mean,
I defined as this, this includes, the
Yeah.
term includes this.
such as, and then et cetera at the end, so there's still,
So other items.
yeah, this is not exclusive.
By way of example,
Yeah,
So goldfish fit.
under light snacks.
Under light
okay,
snack.
A taco would be a sandwich.
okay. All right, 302, changing, altering, and modifying licensed premises. This would just, and remember, this subgroup looked at rules that the liquor enforcement wanted to do some cleanup on, whether it was spelling, whether it was organization, whether it was just a bit better clarification. That's what this subgroup did. Okay, so under the changing, altering, and modifying licensed premises, this was just to make it clear. Under 4, it looked like it was only referencing for minimal beverage licenses, where we need to reference all licenses. Okay. And 5 made it a little more clear of the difference between retailers and then manufacturers, wholesalers, and so forth. Okay. Nothing on the next page, okay. 306. This rule we added because we want to make sure if a retailer, or anybody for that fact, is using a trade name, they have to use a trade name that's on file with the division. They don't have to use it, but if they do, it has to be the one we have on file. We ran into many situations where we have, XYZ doing businesses, Patrick's Bar, and they call it, Ron's Saloon. Well, so if you use it, you gotta let it know what it is. Steve?
That's different from brand names.
Yes.
Okay.
This is trade name of the company and the license.
Okay.
Patrick, what if you have multiple trade names and one is on file with the division.
Well, they all should be.
They all should be?
Yeah. .310, under general provisions, under D, well, A, we just changed the of to from. D, we just made sure we,
There's a typo on the third line in A.
what's that?
There's a typo on the third line in A.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. There's probably more of those, so if you find them, let me know. That was there before, I bet, probably. Okay, D, we just added willful or deliberate misrepresentation may result in denial or revocation, so that's pretty much, I think we know that anyway, but we wanna make sure we add that. We added fraud and forgery to a list of things that could be considered crimes of moral turpitude. So we're finding more of those, actually. And then under E, 1 through 6, the way it was written did not make any sense. Because if you look at the way it was written before, it stopped at 5, and 5 included both 5 and 6, where, you know, criterias for possible determining character was a combination of that you have a pattern of multiple statutory violations, which resulted in the revocation or denial of any professional license, leading to the finding of bad moral character. So we want to make sure that, okay, if 5 should be a standalone and 6 should be a standalone. That just makes sense.
But then does 6, since it's now separated, 6 doesn't have to be proven by 5.
Correct. It could be.
So does it leave it up to the local authorities to have their own definition of bad moral character? I think so.
Yes.
And I don't think it should.
But if you look at the E, it says when a licensing authority is required to make a determination as to the character, record, or reputation, including transfer of ownership, the authority may consider the following factors. So if you've had another licensing authority that has said this person is a bad moral character, that can be taken into consideration.
Shouldn't it have to be established by a pattern of multiple statutory
Well, it's been
violations?
established by either thing from 1 through 5 previously.
Well, or anything else that the local licensing authority would wanna bring up.
But they're not following E though. They need to follow E. It says may consider. Local licensing authorities, Pete, are autonomous. They
Well,
can,
I'll leave this up to all the attorneys in the room, but to me, I think it allows bad moral character to be interpreted differently in every single jurisdiction.
Still does already.
I don't
It
think
Yeah,
does,
already.
yeah.
it changes
That's already
anything.
the case.
Yeah, I'm with Roger, I think this is fine.
Okay. I don't know of anybody in that situation. Case. You probably do, Roger.
Patrick, along that line, do you wanna restrict the consideration of other licensing authorities to a determination of bad moral character? Because I know, for example, Adam would come in and he'd say, the finding of the Lyman Liquor Authority was not bad moral character, it was
It was simply
unsatisfactory moral character. So, in other words.
Why are you exposing the hole, Roger? What are you doing?
Gross.
Come on.
Just kidding.
Only a sense of thing.
But, no, that's, you're restricting yourself to a finding of bad moral character to consider that. Is there anything lesser that they would do that you'd still wanna consider? That's what I'm saying.
I think 1 through 5 may cover all those.
Okay, well, the statute says unsatisfactory character, so if a licensee makes that finding, my position would be the way this is written, you can't consider that.
It does say, which may include but not limited to the following, in the paragraph E.
That's the catch-all.
Yep.
Okay, well, if you're satisfied with it, I'm satisfied.
Now I can go back and look and see if instead of bad moral character, maybe change it to unsatisfactory character.
Bad or
If that's
bad or
this,
unsatisfactory moral character. I'd throw
I'll take a
both
look
in
and see
there.
the statute, look, see your rest language. All right, anything else on that? $47,311, public system transportation license. What this is we've done this by really policy in the division. When, this is mostly, it does apply to airplanes. And carriers of airlines. So we've always done this by policy. We wanted to put it in rule, the three situations to where, one, an airplane would need to get a transportation license, or if they're sold or served while the airplane is stationary, or they're purchased from a Colorado wholesaler, or they're stored on the airplane for more than 24 hours. We used to say overnight. We decided to broaden that out to say 24-hour period. So we wanted to codify that in rule because it's just not really mentioned anywhere. Steve?
Patrick, to that point, do you wanna limit it to airplanes, or what about to limousines and other services such as that?
I think that's already in, the limousines are already in. This is because if you have a limousine that serves alcohol at all, I mean, this is not while stationary. This does not apply to limousines. This
Correct.
applies just to airplanes, the issue of airplanes.
Okay.
What about the circumstance when an aircraft is stuck on the ground due to a blizzard for 2 days?
Here's, what we're doing is, the way we wrote this is, like, say United Airlines would get 100 licenses for 100 airplanes. And then they have to keep track of what 100 they're gonna use. In that case, I imagine there's one that's not using one that one could. See what I'm saying? So we're trying to make it flexible to where, in those situations, when it's case by case basis, really. So they have 100 licenses. Or maybe not use them all. But here's these situations where they have to at least have them. They may decide to get a license for their entire fleet, I mean, maybe just the Western fleet, or however they wanna do it. We just wanna make sure these are the minimum mandatories of when you have to. Someone come in and buy 75, whatever, and decide what to do. Any questions? No? Okay. Under 47,316, this is just a cleanup language that licensees must have available for inspection, and just suppliers. Our staff thought it was just made available for everybody. Pretty simple. 47,317, we had quite a big discussion on this, not necessarily about this rule, but some ancillary discussions on things that could be allowed and not allowed. For many years now, the division has allowed market research companies to do, tastings at like malls, as long as it's in a private area. And we just done it by letter. We have this like little form letter that we send out. When people ask us, can we do this, we give them the copy of the letter, say follow this letter, and if you can, you're in compliance. Well, we want to do it by rule now. So this still allows marketing companies to do the market research in a public area, but they have to eventually go to a private area before they actually sample. So this was given some parameters that we've allowed in the past. So I wanted to bring it to the group to say, okay, number one, is it something we still want to allow? And number two, do these rules sort of give enough parameters to where we think we're comfortable by rule allowing to happen within these parameters?
I just have a question, and probably for any of the manufacturer reps in the room. I'm not familiar with this, so I don't know anything about it, but I do know that it allows 100 times a year for a marketing company from the hours of 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. to serve free alcohol, or to sample free alcohol to up to 100 people. What's the practice now? I don't know. Are these marketing companies out doing this? I just don't know.
It's been about 2 years ago. I was in Colorado Mills, and then put them out to the clipboard and say, hey, would you like to take a sample of whatever? Are you 21? Yeah. Come on in. Well, I didn't have time, but They were actually asking for people to come in and sample. And they would pay you. You get paid to do this. You're not paying them, they're paying you.
Whoa.
What a deal, right?
So should we add something that?
I would say
there can be
we-
no fee to participate, and there should be no payment made to the individuals who do participate?
No.
No? Huh.
It can't go the other way around. You can't pay for it, but, and I'm not sure.
I just don't know how prevalent it is.
Hey, Don, you do, I
Maybe,
mean, I
maybe
know,
we don't- maybe we don't care, but it's just,
I know,
that's
I
100
get,
times a year.
I get requests, and I think
Yeah.
Sandra, you do too. How often am I would say I probably get 4 requests a year. Do you guys remember, and they come in through LED, don't they?
Yeah, yes, that sounds about right.
I think a lot.
Market research requests.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't even request.
Yeah, probably not.
The ones that do, that are standard ones we get a letter from.
I just got a
Very
procedural
minimal.
question. And it says that the wholesaler must pay the excise tax. Manufacturers pay the excise tax inside Colorado.
They pay it first on the first sell, and that's to the wholesaler. And usually the wholesalers actually pay it, usually.
Pay excise tax every month, every one of my stores.
Federal or state?
And do you collect it from the, do you charge the wholesaler any of the tax at all?
No, we pay our tax.
How about we just change that excise tax must be paid?
Perfect. Just, I know it's mechanical, it's nitpicky, but it's,
No, I mean, that probably makes it cleaner, thanks.
Seems like a lot.
Pete, I don't know how many go on, but I understand the brewers do this a lot.
Do
There's a
they?
lot of new products coming out. I don't know how often, but
Yeah,
it's pretty regular
Hmm?
practice.
But 100 times a year for
I
a
don't
particular
know.
market
Well,
research company, sounds like.
I don't know.
Where does it say 100 times a year?
Twice per week.
What's the evil you're trying
Okay,
to get
thanks.
at here? What is
Yeah.
the harm in this particular?
I don't know.
Patrick, what are you trying to get at here? Because this looks like a private party.
2 days a week.
It's a private party, but yet they're pulling consumers from the public to do this.
So you're saying that still makes it a public area?
It still needs to be something that we need to be aware of what's going on. There's alcohol being served, I mean, even though it's not being served in public, they're still pulling the public in for it. It's not an invite, like in a traditional private situation, you're just pulling people random off the public. That's not a private event, in my mind.
Okay, so that, let me follow up. So that would mean then that you're saying that they would be drinking in public?
No, they're drinking in private, they're pulling people from the public.
Okay.
And the rule says you must be in a private location.
Right, so, right now, if you did this, if you pull people from the public, put them in a private location, what would there be a violation? Of what?
Serving on
It has to be public premises, is the only violation I see.
It's not licensed.
Not licensed, but you're giving it away.
Yeah, I think I can make the argument in public, that's why we're making an exception here, carved out by rule, instead of by letter.
Okay, so you would say that, so what you're saying here, this is an exception to the drinking in public rule?
Yeah, I think we have enough to articulate it's private within certain parameters. No, if they had like a list of people that were on their, list, that the members of their association, they invited them to the mall to come to my room I'd be okay, that's considered private. But since you're pulling people from the public, even though you're going to a private area, I would argue that'd be a public event.
Okay, so that'd be drinking in public would be the
Yeah,
charge?
right.
do the people serving the alcohol need to be tips trained, tip certified? Why not?
There's no, because we don't have any law to back that up.
But they're still serving.
There's only,
Tips training is not mandated.
It's not
Yeah,
mandatory.
it's not mandated. There's only relatively few places that sort of, seller server training is mandated. Any questions about this? Owner manager, 318. This is just to help clarify owners and managers.
Can I just ask a question? Where you say the manager may be compensated based on profits? Can it, I know they can, employees can be part of a 401k plan, which is, or a profit sharing plan, right? got the, whatever form you're gonna use with the manager's?
Oh, it's already there.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, what it is,
'Cause it says now it
well,
must
two
record.
things. Number one, it's on the 8404, which is the application for a license. The question is asked, beyond the people that are listed as director, shareholders and stuff like that, the question is, does anyone else receive financial benefit from your alcohol in, operation? And if yes, list their name and what's happening. So a manager would go here, so they're.
But all the employees would,
No, not employees. This is where they're being paid by percentage of sales, basis of profit made in a manager situation. That they'll be listed on line 13 now, we change the forms. And then from there, we decide whether or not we need to vet them as far as,
I just wanna make sure this isn't increasing whatever you were already looking at.
no, it's not. It's actually putting a rule what we're doing now, so it's open and transparent.
So it's the same thing that's going on right now?
Yes.
with you. Okay.
Like in situations where you have a management company, you have a registered manager, but that management company may need to be vetted, because they're the ones actually running the whole show.
Sure.
We may have to vet them, so this is really just making sure we understand that we have that authority to vet them as a management company.
Okay.
47,322. Of course, we moved the definitions from this location up to 47,100. We then, under 5C, products for use but not for resale by the drink by nonprofit organization or similar group as defined in section 1248-102 CRS, which is the special event code. We just want to make sure that was clear. In the bottom of that is we added the word laden instead of a minimum of a cost, it's laden cost. So and then under E2D, this is the same place we made a change before, but it was under the other subgroup, where they have to remove it at the end of the days, at the end of the day that they were left. So that's the only rule I actually got into multiple subgroups. The rest of them were all just single. I was like, wow, I'm surprised. And then under 3, let's talk about the last one. It's L3, value of labor. We didn't really touch on the topic, because that was one of the things that we did talk about in the trade price subgroup, is value of labor, and that got tabled for now. But this one we just wanted to add it in because it's our current practice. The pouring or serving of alcohol beverages, except allows in regulation 322B2, which is the on-premises sales promotion, shall be at least a minimum cost or of the employee's hourly wage. So this is we made it a little more clear of the pouring of alcohol is considered labor.
I think there's a typo in that sentence.
What? What's that? Who said that?
I think there's a typo in the sentence.
Where?
So A dispensing systems, so A is singular and dispensing systems is plural.
Yeah.
So take the S out, systems. Or take the A out, one of the two.
Okay, thanks. Cool. Okay. All right, next. 47,328.
Kevin.
What?
So Kevin's not here.
But he's been emailing me.
Okay. Oh.
So the intent of this rule is to say, if you have 2 or more, you have to have at least 2, licensed premises that are attached to a common consumption area, if their hours are beyond 2 to 7, or within 2 to 7, that both of them, at least 2 have to be open. What we've come across here, and we may have enough to enforce it now, but I think we want to make it stronger, because we have licensees now who just create a second license and never open it up, make it a part attached to the common consumption area, it's not some even functioning premises at all. Now, it's my second premises, but yeah, we can operate 24/7. That's not the intent of the law. So this rule is drafted to, I think, go on with the intent where we have two more places that are open, they can stay 24/7, but if one closes, the other one can't stay open beyond two. I do know that CML, Kevin Balmer, has expressed opposition to this, so he couldn't be here today, but I wanna make sure I mention that. He does not believe we have authority to do it, so.
I think that's more restrictive than the statute.
What's that?
I said, I think that's more restrictive than the statute.
Yeah, I agree.
We would agree as well on that.
Which is,
I think you have to have more than one to create the common area, but the statute doesn't say anything at all about when it's open.
right,
So I think we would side with Kevin on that one.
okay. Is that from a legal standpoint or from a other standpoint?
Well, I guess both. I don't think we have any members who are necessarily falling under that.
So do you believe a licensee should be able to just create a second license for the mere fact of letting that single license being open 24/7?
I think the intent of the statute was to give local licensing
Right.
authorities as much control as possible. And if there's an arrangement that they're comfortable with, I think that that should be honored.
Okay,
I would second that too, Patrick.
all right.
Patrick, is there any way we could kind of punt on this one until next time round when Kevin's able to be here and we can hear some of CML's concerns?
Well, we'll have another meeting.
Okay.
I'm not willing to punt till next year. Unless someone can give me some definite legal sites or, I feel pretty,
Linda, did you look at this one?
Some. It's,
I guess he's looking at you for the legal.
yeah.
and he and I can talk some more.
Lawyers in here can all give you an opinion, but.
And I'll talk to him some more. There are some interesting aspects.
As far as I know, I think the intent is there. We'll make it, try it out and we'll make it. So,
I also represent the city of Cripple Creek,
I
and
know.
we're gonna have similar.
you have some what?
Similar concerns.
Yeah, cause you're the guys doing it.
And we represent the, creation of a district.
Patrick, I have a question back on the other one too.
Which
Same
one?
type of question on the marijuana one.
Did we
I thought
pass that one?
They pass a bill.
Did we pass that?
No, we didn't
Yeah.
pass it yet.
Oh, we haven't passed it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, when we get to it, I'll ask the same question.
Can you tell me, what licensee in Cripple Creek? Cause I represent the Cripple Creek Casino Association.
Can we do that offline? Okay. Any other comments about 328? 400. It's just clean up.
I'm not sure it is clean.
Okay.
Right now in statute, a distillery or winery does not by law have to have a wholesaler's license.
Well, we can argue that all day long, Steve, but they do.
He wins.
I mean, I, by many reasons, I'm not gonna rehash that argument
Well,
now.
no, we never had this argument.
No, we did many times.
No, we had the argument about whether or not, if they have to have a wholesaler's license if they're going to deliver product directly to a customer of any sort. But if they're not, then they don't need to have a wholesaler's license.
They need a wholesale license to be able to sell to a retailer.
Exactly. If they're not gonna sell to a retailer, or give to a charitable organization, if they're gonna do everything through a wholesaler, a winery or a distillery does not need a wholesale license. This actually adds not only an additional regulatory hump that some of our distillers don't want.
I think it does.
But at the same time, it also doubles the administrative burden on every winery and distiller in the state. Because now, I mean, I've chosen to carry both licenses.
Where does it say if you're a manufacturer and you wanna sell to a wholesaler, you have to get a license?
It says all brewers, distilleries, and wineries, or all manufacturers, for a license.
No, it says who sells to retail. Yeah.
I'm being stupid, sorry.
Right.
I apologize.
Right.
It's late in the day and.
No, I'm with you. It's Bronco time.
Bronco 30, right?
Sorry.
You guys aren't going fast enough for me here, Doc. Remember we served, all approved, say aye, right? 47408, purchases by retailers. Under G, we just wanna add this, a section in the regulation for, compliance with records, requests. And then here's E. Here's one, I opened it for discussion before, and I've seen both sides, but I wanna make a decision one way or the other, and I feel comfortable with this decision. That dock pickups from all beverages or from all beverages must be, and by a retailer, must be from the wholesaler that services that area. And not from a dock pickup from a county or city away, whatever.
We agree
So-
with that. That's part of the exclusive territory.
Right. I do know that former directors, I think Roger, you being one of them, ruled that they could do dock pickups outside the territory. Do you remember that at all, by chance?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
I know, for sure Dave, did, it was just previous position statements where we did allow it, so I'm not sure if you had any different take on it.
I don't, well, it seems like the intent of the law is that there be territorial agreements, and that way you can trace, when you see a beer somewhere, you know where it came from.
Right.
So, in accord with that, I think that this regulation does accord with the intent.
Okay.
I think it's good.
Does E apply to A1?
No.
No.
Okay. If it does, it's a problem. If it doesn't, it's not.
It does not, so it's not a problem.
Just making sure.
No, I'm looking real quick, purchases of malt liquor from malt beverages by retailers, right?
Yeah.
By, thank you.
Oh, instead of from.
Just from, by. Not from, by. Alright, 47.4.14. This is a little-known reg that's been more in the limelight lately for whatever reason. That allows wholesalers to purchase back items from a retailer, but that's their license is expired or canceled. They're only given 5 days to do so, so we included the 30. I was a little bit reserved on the 30, but I decided to go 30, so. Any opposition to that? Okay. 47.602, Adam?
Yeah, I know last time we spoke about this, I was adamantly opposed to it. And I found the cases where it specifically says the APA does not apply to liquor license suspension proceedings. I have those 2 cases with me too. My concern with this is abuse by local jurisdictions of not having the 15-day hearing done timely and resolved, and essentially shutting a business down that could be innocent at the end of the day. And so I have the 2 cases here for you if you like them.
Okay, give them Linda.
Yes. So I would be fine with how it was originally drafted, and in accordance with the statute, and not opening it up to allowing this to occur. Now, I understand this could occur in marijuana proceedings, or it could occur theoretically by the state, but not for the locals.
We're trying to make this really what we're doing. We're trying to reflect what we're actually doing today. And we thought the previous language here didn't quite address, it was sort of almost conflicting a little bit to the law in the APA, so we wanna make sure that people understand, if we do a temporary summary suspension, that we have up to 15 days, you can come say you're shut down, we have 15 days to give, formal notice to, or, to a denial, to a revocation here, whatever, and the process starts. And until that's over, you can't open back up again. So that's our desire, is to set that in motion. That's what we do now, whether or not we can word it differently to maybe address the local licensing authority issue, maybe we can, but that's our intent there.
Well, if you look at this, the cases themselves specifically say the APA does not apply to a liquor license suspension proceeding.
Adam, let me jump in on that one.
Yes,
Because
thank you, Roger.
I fought that one long ago, probably with your law firm.
Well-
But, let me just tell you that I think those cases, I don't know what cases they are, but I remember the cases back then, said that it doesn't apply to a liquor hearing because both those were from the city or county, those were local cases. And the state has always recognized that local cases do not follow the APA, but that's different from saying the state does not follow the
Okay,
APA.
and I would concede that point. I would concede that point, but the locals do not have the ability to exercise this rule. And the way it was drafted before protected abuse from the locals. I've been in that situation where we get shut down and you gotta rush in for the hearing and it prevents the abuse of the local side, and they can't go beyond what the statute allows, is what I'm trying to say. So they can't invoke the APA to say, hey, we've got this exception period, we've got this time that we can wait, we've given you notice, now we can keep you closed for 3-4 months, by the time you guys reopen, you're out of business. And we accomplish our goal even though we may not have been able to prove the allegations.
We'll see if we can, if we're.
Might be able to, find something, there's another provision of the APA that I think would help in that situation.
But would you agree with me, Roger, that the APA does not apply to the locals?
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah, see, so that's,
Yeah.
and so by using the language you have here, gives the
Right.
locals the ability to say, we're gonna shut down ABC Bar on the Hill for as long as it's gonna take, cause we've given you notice that we think you violated these 4 or 5 areas, and now, by the time you have a hearing, you're 4 months down the road, and,
You're dead.
yeah.
I think
Right.
they have authority, for the division to pass a regulation that binds the locals as well, in terms of summary suspension. I don't think you need the APA, I mean, they don't have the APA for the locals, but I don't think you need the APA. I think you can say, no licensing authority shall issue summary suspension except providing a hearing within 15 days or whatever it is.
Well, that's how it's currently drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's already law that addresses that for the locals.
Okay, then what is it?
So what they're looking at doing here is expanding that to say that we could shut you down for 15 days without giving you written notice of why we're doing it, so to speak. We can come in and say, you're shutting down now, we'll give you a hearing in 15 days. This language says, we could shut you down, we can give you notice of alleged allegations, and that way we can keep you closed for however long it takes for us to have a hearing beyond the 15
And I think
days.
that's unfair to the licensees.
Right.
We object to this too, and I think I know some jurisdictions will interpret, has been guilty of a deliberate and willful violation of any applicable law or regulation, is gonna be interpreted locally. And I would worry about some jurisdictions interpreting it different than others. I'd rather have black and white than all gray.
Well, they do now.
Yeah, so I think A, as was presently drafted, was okay. It's the addition, or it's a changing of A and adding the B that is where I have the problem.
The way I don't, maybe I'm wrong, but the way I read this is if a minor is served and there's a sting by somebody, then you could say that was a jurisdiction could say, okay, you're suspended. You're out of business now, and we'll have a hearing on it, because we think that's a deliberate willful violation of the law.
Well, they could do right now if they wanted to.
Right.
they can shut them down?
Mhm.
But you have to have a hearing and a resolution within 15 days.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the way it's drafted now is
You don't have to.
you don't have to, as long as they give you a complaint that says, we
Right.
think you did A, B, C, D, it could take 30, 45, 60, 80 days down the road.
And then the places.
You got it.
Right, but we also don't wanna be bound by 15 days, that you have to be,
But-
you can open up on day 16.
Like, again, as to the state, I think you guys have the right to exercise the APA, the locals do not.
I agree.
Right.
So, yeah.
But shouldn't we still be on the same playing field though, when it comes to the ability to do summary suspensions? Now we do them, shouldn't we do them the same?
Well, then I would say then keep it the way it is.
I don't know, if we change
But-
it,
but-
if we change it, still would apply to both.
No, but legally, I'm saying you can't, because you can cite the APA for your authority in subsection B. And so,
Right.
as long as we say the state licensing authority,
Yep.
I'm fine with that, but I don't want it to say the issuing licensing, or we're a licensing authority and have it apply to the locals. So I think you can clean up your problem, but
Mhm.
not affect the local side.
Just wanted me to talk about it and see.
Mhm.
We'll talk about it and see if we can drop something that might,
I think there may be a solution.
maybe a solution. Okay. Alright. 700, just wanna make sure the books and records include electronic, digital, facsimile, paper, stuff like that. So we got a question asked a lot.
Instead of saying include, can you say maybe? I mean, some of them keep all digital instead of paper copies. Or include copies electronically, but I think you wanna make it clear that in this day and age, there are a lot who don't keep paper records, they keep digital.
Right, books and records include copies provided in electronic.
Would you rather have it say records than copies?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's it.
Or documents or whatever, just so you're not saying copies?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I'll word it, I'll use some different copy, I'm not sure records is the best way to do it though.
Okay, just documents.
Documents is fine.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, here's another one. 47,900 conduct of establishment. No person or entity licensed under 46,748 shall allow the consumption of marijuana and or marijuana products as defined in section so forth of the Constitution on any licensed premises.
I just have to ask a question, because I need to do this session. So, Denver has apparently approved their ballot issue, so what happens if they pass that? And what if they pass their public consumption bill? I'm just asking questions. Are you gonna go back and change it, or do you care, or, is anybody doing it now?
No. It just makes, cause right now, I know it's a bit fuzzy on who, as far as, consumption in public. Our desire is not to allow that in public consumption.
Well, I thought it wasn't allowed, I thought it's not legal.
It's not legal, but I think the locals have some ability to,
Right,
Make it
so
legal.
it kind of goes with the same question, if the
Not
locals
online.
decide they want to allow a festival, like they do their cannabis cup and serve beer, does this that makes it illegal now?
correct, make it
Mhm.
a rule
Which
violation.
is contrary to the discussions that people were having, trying to work that out. Just wanted to throw that out there,
Aye.
that's probably gonna raise some flags.
This room may get a little bit larger next meeting, right?
Yeah. I think it will.
And then I'll also reiterate my request to change the word allow to permit. If you look at regulation 47,900, every violation is engage in or permit. That's the language used, so there's no language of allow. I just don't want this to be potentially construed to have a different meaning than permit, which is the actual or constructive knowledge kind of a thing, so so instead of saying allow, it said no person or entity under da-da-da shall permit the consumption.
Are you sure the law doesn't follow anywhere at all in 47900?
If you look through, I looked through it briefly.
I
before
think it
got
does,
here,
I think it does say allow.
But it says engage in or permit. If you look at the
But you
licensing.
keep on back, there's a part that says allow as well, Adam.
Well, but
Okay, where does it?
I don't have it with me. I don't know.
It
if we
does,
have
it
regulations.
does say allow. There's a word on allow.
But if you look at every violation, all the case law interpreting the liability of a licensee deals with the word permit. And the court went to great length to define what that means. And so as long as we kind of keep that logic, I'm okay.
But we have allowed there already.
What's the objection to making a permit?
I think then the burden of proof might be a little bit more difficult for us. Permitting is different than allowing.
Well, but then see, that's the, we
That's
wanna.
the legal basis upon which we're saying.
Yeah, you have I should have brought the regulation with me. I don't, but I quickly looked at it, and I believe every time the licensee would be held responsible for conduct not allowed, it was engage in or permit the following conduct. Engage in or
Because-
permit the
Yeah,
following.
but that's under the exception part of, not except the clause. I don't think it's part of the positive clause. What are you talking about? Read it again?
No, my recollection of regulation 900 is when it says the licensee cannot do the following, it says shall not engage in or permit the following. So you can't have pornography, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't keep.
I think it says allow.
So I would like to. go
Permit
back-
is in there, permit is under like in one example.
No, it's used in there 4 or 5 times. The word.
Read that.
I can read it.
Yeah, if you look at the next line, there you go. I mean, the regulation shall not be deemed to authorize
Right.
or permit any
That's,
conduct.
that's where the permit is found.
No, but it's found in everything above section E as well.
I think he's right.
Commercial permit, 900 currently says permit
Yeah, I
and
think they're all.
permit, and then permit,
Hmm.
A, B, and C.
Yep.
That's what Adam said.
Right, just to keep it consistent. Because at least that way we know what,
Permit.
like, at least we all know what that playing field looks like, Patrick.
Yeah.
Engage in or permit, visual displays, permit,
Engage in or permit, engage in or
permit. Yeah, it's permit all
Like
right,
permit.
Right on.
We would support that as well.
this way.
We would too, we just wanna know what the.
Just to know what,
standard
yeah,
is.
what the burdens and.
We support 900, we like permit.
All right, I'll probably change it, but hold on.
Change it to like HTML.
Okay.
Okay. You've convinced me.
Thank you.
I'm not totally inflexible.
Other than that one, is there a reason why you guys left out 14?
I mean, that's that what?
That you left out 14 and just did 16? Isn't that referring to the medical?
I'm not following you with me.
In the constitutional,
Right, yeah.
I know what he's talking about.
Yeah,
We can
Amendment
change it.
64 and Amendment 20.
Right, yeah,
We can add it.
we'll add that. I'm a marijuana dummy. Right. 47904, this is just coming with the reason here. Current interpretation would be you can use an empty Corona bottle to be a salt shaker or something like that, so we're allowing that to happen. This is talking about liquids and refilling for, bad purposes. And under F is just to clarify shipment.
Is that taken out the 30 days?
No, it has to be done by law.
Huh?
That has to be done by law,
Oh, okay.
which if someone wants to carry that bill, that's fine with me.
He's looking at all of that.
Anybody want?
I don't wanna carry any bill.
The 30-day wait requirement for the importers and manufacturers, that are out of state, they have to submit their product registration and wait 30 days.
Before they can
Regardless of how fast it's registered, before they can ship to or sell in Colorado.
I would not object to someone running some legislation to reduce that or eliminate that late days. Just let you know that.
Well, especially if we're going to pro, because
Could you
it's
submit
on
the language in the minutes again?
Yeah.
That you wouldn't object to?
That would be helpful.
I'm sure there will be a million bills this
Since
year.
you're gonna
Slip it in.
approve the language anyway.
Yeah, that's good.
Who was that, who was that talking? $47,918. This is just some cleanup where, wholesalers that are doing, a retailer sampling, they can bring an unsealed, like, bottle of expensive, liqueur, pour, and then take their,
Take it back.
take it back. We'll make sure that's, the law allows it, we'll make sure the rule allows it as well. 1020, just, under B, putting in but not for sale by the drink back in here, just to make it super, super clear. Even though we're covered under 322, we're just putting it back in there. And then, the very bottom here on E, this is something we've always done just by policy. There's no way for a retail liquor store or liquor licensed drugstore to invoice an on-premises account. So there's no legal, financial accounting to go that way. But we allow them to donate to charity events happening on on-premise license, so they can do that, but it counts against their $2,000 emergency spending. That's the way we've always done it. We're just putting in a rule.
I think there's a problem here. And we're talking about a special, we're talking about a special event permittee.
We're talking about someone who would qualify as a special event permit. So you have a nonprofit that would otherwise qualify for a special event permit, holding a charity event on an on-premises location.
So if the American Cancer Society wanted to have an event at Jose O'Shea's or something.
Right.
And distributor decides to,
No,
to
it's
donate
not
here to.
distributor,
The retail liquor store or liquor licensed drugstore.
To them.
But what about
That's already in here. They can do that. They can zero
okay,
invoice.
so this is just for a liquor store donation to.
Right.
Yeah.
Counts against that $2,000 retailer exception.
This, all of E except for this last thing applies, it talks about wholesalers.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
Wholesaler shall invoice a retailer, donated product must be returned to the wholesaler, so on and so forth. So it's only this last sentence that applies to a, retail liquor store. And that's the practice now, Patrick?
Yeah.
What if you put that up under
Okay, let's
C?
see the donations from the wholesaler.
Because E talks about when E is a paragraph that discusses when the event's being held at a licensed facility. A through D is discussing a special event permit license holder.
Okay.
But that doesn't.
Okay, all right.
All right. The other, I talked about two rules that we haven't brought forward yet. One was the one that Phil mentioned about the liquor licensed drugstore, and the contracting of it, we'll have language for that. And the second one was a little bit of cleanup to our position, 47-200, which is the request for a position statement. All we wanna do is make it a little bit more clear on service, certificate of service, and the process of how it's done. We're not changing the content of the process of 30 days, ask for a director for a position statement, declaratory order after that. It's just really cleaning up on the actual the process of how to get it done, cause it's a little bit not clear in the rule, but we'll give you draft language of that. And we'll just pretty much, spell a little bit more out in detail of how it's done. So that's the only two things that we're gonna add. Beside that, thanks to everybody on this Bronco Thursday for coming and spending your time with me. And, the rest of us, I really do appreciate it. I think we made a really good run at it this year, in a short period of time. I think I really appreciate everybody's,
Yeah,
commitment to coming to the meeting, so it's been good.
Next one's the 21st.
Anything else? Next meeting's on the 21st. We will have everything out to everybody well before that. We will have another meeting for the two subgroups, 197 and LED review, just to make sure that there's been enough changes there. We need to make sure everybody's on board. Okay, and I'll put that out. It'll probably be next week. Short notice.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Patrick.